Okay, well, we're here today, Alex, to talk mostly about Inception, but I thought first we'd go over the other films opening this weekend.
Sounds great.
I've already posted the review of Sorcerer's Apprentice, John Turteltaub directing Nick Cage again, and really it's just a lot of icing and not a lot of cake. It's really pretty, and you can read all about it, but for kids, it's going to be a fun movie, not so much for thinking adults.
Right. Was it along the? I mean, if people like National Treasure, would they like these movies, or?
I think that's a pretty good guess. Yeah, if you like National Treasure, where you didn't really have to use a lot of critical faculties, you're probably going to like Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Okay.
Beautiful on the screen, some great effects, but wow. It's jumpy. It's for people with a low attention span, and there you go.
All right.
Restrepo, the documentary about the Afghanistan war, opens this weekend at the Angelica in regular release. And I talked to some of the principals of that a couple of weeks back when they had it at the USA Film Festival. And so now general audiences will get to see the film. And I recommend you look at it. It's a really gripping and gritty and tough documentary, but it gives you the soldier on the ground's view of what's going on over there.
Okay.
And then I know you saw The Kids Are All Right. We're going to have a guest reviewer actually
Yes.
doing the write-up.
Yes, I won't actually be reviewing it, but I saw The Kids Are All Right last night. It's a very good movie. It's a tale of a lesbian couple, Annette Bening and Julianne Moore, and they had 2 kids via sperm donor. And the 2 kids, when they get older, the older daughter has now just turned 18, and so she's legally able to ask who the sperm donor was, which turned out to be Mark Ruffalo. And so Mark Ruffalo comes into their lives and complicates matters somewhat. It's a good family drama. I was hoping for a little bit more. They kind of throw a twist in there that I didn't really like, and I thought they could have done without that twist. It just made it a solid family drama all the way through, but they threw that in there, and it's still solid acting throughout. You can't complain about anybody's acting in the movie, and I think that it's resolved just the way you want it to be. So you can't really complain about that at all.
Okay. So what demographic does that appeal to? Is this like an indie film lover?
It's definitely an indie film, although the twist they throw in there, it seems to me more aimed at let's kind of give a bone to the mainstream film goers.
Okay.
And so I think that if you don't like independent films, that you may have something in there for you. Although I did have early on, there's a kind of a sexual scene that of course it's a gay couple, and had an older couple walk out. And I'm going, okay, well, it's obviously not their cup of tea, but
so maybe not really.
But if you know ahead of time that it's about a lesbian couple, then I don't think you'll be shocked about anything that's in there. So.
All right, good. And then the last movie, besides the big one we're going to talk about that I saw this week, is The Killer Inside Me, which is a little independent film. It's kind of a Western noir. It's made from a Jim Thompson novel, and it's very, very dark. And it also has this subtle irony running through it. The score is Western swing music, like Bob Will stuff, set to this horrific criminal action that's going on. Casey Affleck is the main character, the title character, who has a killer inside him. And he is just a brutal sociopath, and the film documents his activities against women, mostly. Jessica Alba plays his love interest, if you can call it that, and Kate Hudson is also one of the players in the film. So it's got some great players, really edgy material, definitely not mainstream stuff, but strong film, and if you're into that, I think you will enjoy it.
Sounds good.
And of course, now we come to the big film of the week. Big in many ways, it's going to be big box office. Inception.
Okay.
Which, wow, we knew Christopher Nolan, it was going to be something interesting, it's going to be visually spectacular, which was all true, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you've seen the trailer, you there's several of these images, like a freight train coming down a city street, Leonardo DiCaprio sitting on a corner while buildings explode around him, the city rolling up on itself. So just those images alone in the trailer kind of fire your imagination, and then of course when you see the movie itself, it just expands upon that, and it goes to levels that you really can't imagine.
Yeah, it does. Levels is a good choice of words. And we've both decided we're going to have to see it again.
Yeah,
right.
It definitely requires a second viewing.
What he's done, and he also wrote the story, the screen story, is he's doing like a juggling act with several narrative storylines. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing that he keeps them all in the air. He sort of does, although on first viewing, believe me, you're not going to be able to keep track of exactly what's going on. At least I wasn't.
Right.
And you don't care. That's the important part, because you're along for this fabulous thrill ride, and the action sequences are what make the film.
Right.
It's almost like a James Bond film times 3 is what it is.
Well, I kind of compare it to, I mean, with what they're able to do, or the visuals and what they're able to show, it's almost like an animated film almost, in that they're limitless on what they can do. I mean, if you didn't know, it deals with the dream world mostly, and well, not mostly, it deals with the dream world, and so they can show basically anything they want to do, anything they can conjure up, they put there on screen, and it goes directions that you don't think it's going to go, and it's hard to keep up a lot of times, but.
Yeah, most of the jaw-dropping scenes, to me, involve things that happen when there's weightlessness involved.
Yeah.
And how the heck they filmed that, I don't know. And really, I don't want to know, because it's so spectacularly done and seamless that it's a wonderful experience to watch.
Yeah.
And of course, DiCaprio is in the movie. What do you think about his act?
Yeah, DiCaprio was great. I'm actually like Joseph Gordon-Levitt a little bit more. He plays his sidekick,
yeah.
And he's getting better and better roles as he goes along, and he's becoming one of our better actors, I think.
Yeah, 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah.
The Lookout, which was one of my early favorites of his.
There was another one I'm forgetting the name of it. He played like a private eye, but kind of set in high school a couple of years ago. I forget the name. Yeah, that was another good one. But
right.
Yeah, he's becoming a great actor.
Absolutely. And Ellen Page.
Yeah, Ellen Page.
Her character brought to mind the biggest question for me in as far as the character interactions in the film. I couldn't quite figure out what her relationship to the DiCaprio character was supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, looking back on it, it's a little more troublesome than when it's actually happening. But is she like falling in love with this guy? Is she just admiring him as a mentor or a father figure? It's a little bit nebulous.
Yeah, I agree. It's not quite defined, and maybe after we see it a second time, we'll understand it a little bit more. I know I told you that I thought that the amount of exposition they put in this movie is a lot more than you would normally expect. I mean, it's a very mysterious movie, but at times they spell a lot of stuff out for you. And you said that you weren't aware of it at the time, but and it didn't ruin it for me. I mean, because of the nature of the film, I think that you have to spell a lot of things out. Otherwise, the audience is going to be hopelessly lost.
Yeah.
And
they do a lot of exposition, but to me, they did it in a way that was seamless and well integrated. Mm-hmm. And as they're doing some of the exposition, you know, they're acting it out at the same time, which is always helpful.
Right.
As opposed to the kind of exposition we got in the start of The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is basically 4 or 5 minutes of, like, cliff notes of the history of Merlin and his fellow magicians. So this is much better done.
Right.
Let's see if there's anything else I want to say about it. Hans Zimmer, of course, does the music again, who's worked with Nolan on the 2 Batman movies. Mm-hmm. And boy, I just love his scoring. It's ominous and it's ponderous, and it's got this low range vibrato stuff going
big
on.
Bass note.
Big bass notes. It really adds to the drama of the story to me.
Absolutely.
So, big yes on Inception, I think, is the bottom line.
Definitely yes, and probably 2 times yes. So.
Absolutely. So go see it and have fun at the movies.
It's called Inception.